already packing. Come with me, I'm not really asking. We'll get away to a place where we don't know. About to see the world in action, what we can be, life with no distractions. We'll get away, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free with me. Let's go, let's be free with Not looking back, eyes on the freeway, Bonnie and Clyde, a classic cliche. We're on the run, this is what we waited for. Take my hand, we'll make it somehow. We can't miss out. I'm done living life with the lights out. Die with my own doubts. Be free.
Good evening, everyone. It's Jim here at Tutor2U, and welcome to our latest live AQA A-Level Psychology revision blast. Actually, this is our last live blast before the half-term break, and we'll be back in the first week of June with some new sessions, primarily focused to support existing Year 12 students, recap some of their stuff from earlier in the school year. So hopefully you enjoy this one. This is in fact a Year 12 stroke Paper 1 topic mix where Lara, who's on the right hand side, and Anne, who's in the middle, they've just drawn together from the different topics that you might encounter in Paper 1. So a mix of stuff to give us a fantastic 30 minutes or so of live revision activities. So I can see from the screen lots of you joining us live, which is great. Please use the live chat in YouTube if you want to have a go at the activities. Anne and Lara are always having a look to see if they can give a shout out to who's ever first in the live chat, or just to see how you're getting on. If you're watching on catch up or replay, which is what most people do, hundreds and actually several thousand people typically watch each session, well, you get a chance to pause the video. We won't be able to see how you're getting on, but give yourself a bit more time, including doing the famous follow-up questions that Anna and Lara usually throw into these activities. You're never more than a second or two away from a challenging follow-up question. Lara, do you want to give us a quick intro before Anne leads us off with the first activity?
Yeah, of course. So hi, everyone. If this is your first time joining, welcome. This is a Paper 1 mix-up. So we're looking at attachment, social, memory, psychopathology. We've got questions on all 4 topics tonight. So it's basically a nice kind of bringing it all together for if anyone's got a Paper 1 mock coming up or any assessments on any of these topics, this will work quite well. So Anne's going to start us off with a game. Really do encourage you to be interactive and write your answers in the chat box. You'll get more out of it that way. and we will alternate with games. Usually last between kind of half an hour to 40 minutes. So we'll take it over to Anne, who's going to start us off.
Superb. Have fun, everyone.
Okay, so the first activity, if you've joined our sessions before, you'll have played this before, is missing vowels. So I want you to work out what that term is or name is, and use the chat box. Let's see who can be first in the chat box to give the answer. Okay, I'm wondering. I think we need the correct answer up, Jim. I'm wondering if students can't see it either.
So I think Poppy's got the right answer first here. She's
I'm not.
managed to get it.
Can you see it now? I can't see anything.
Well done, Poppy, and the rest of you, Joe, Elisa, Eva, Chandana, all really good.
Right, okay. So I have a follow-up question. Where can you use this case study? Where would you use this? What part of the specification, or why is it important? What does it tell us? Laura, I still can't see the comments, so I don't know if you can tell me what they're saying.
Okay, yeah, no, that's fine. So Joe, really good. You said the man with the worst ever case of amnesia. Poppy, you said you can use it in types of long-term memory. That's correct. We've also got memory stores from Dazzling Potatoes, like that name. The different memory stores again, long-term memory. Yep.
Great stuff. Okay, if we can have the next one. Okay, so how about this one? Again, Laura, I'm going to have to rely on you to tell me who's the...
Sure, not a problem. Really good. So we've got, I think it's Aki. You got that first, 44 Thieves, Kat, Joe, Charlotte, Eva. Yeah, who can tell us which psychologist did this study? Can anybody give us the name of the psychologist? Really good. Yes, Bowlby, excellent. Yeah, and Eva, you said attachment. Yeah, it's under the attachment topic. A lot of you are saying Bowlby, so it's really good to see that you can link that Bowlby's 44 Thieves, yeah, and is also from the attachment topic. Well done. Good.
Okay, how about this next one? Again, this might be a name of somebody. Do we have any answers there, Laura?
We haven't yet. This is a bit more of a trickier one. I'll give it a couple more seconds and might give you guys a clue. It looks difficult, but it's not. There's not much missing from this one.
I think it's because the vowels at the beginning.
Chandana's got it. Albert Ellis. And Hugh, you got it as well.
Brilliant.
Ellis. Well,
brilliant. Okay, so what area of the specification does this come under? Why is Albert Ellis important in psychology?
So what topic in paper 1 specifically does Albert Ellis come under? So Sophie, you've said psychopathology. 6, you said depression. Really good. And Aki as well, depression, AE, psychopathology, CBT we've got down here as well. Really good. Yeah.
Brilliant. Okay, if we go to the next one. How about this one? I think this might be a little bit easier.
Aki in there again. Carl Rogers. Excellent. We got the right answer. And Florence as well. Really good. You said Rogers. Sukes, Chandana, Charlotte. You've all got it correct. Carl Rogers.
So which approach is Carl Rogers associated with? Which approach? Has anybody got it?
Oh, we've got nothing so far. We've gone a bit quiet, guys. Good. Shandana said humanistic, and Aki as well. Humanistic. Really good. Perfect. I think we've got one more missing vowel to do, if I'm correct.
That's right.
Yep.
Yes. So how about this one?
Okay, I think there are actually only 2 missing vowels here.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Trying to.
We've got a correct answer. Anybody else want to have a go? Aki as well. Really good. Any other answers, guys?
Okay. And what did he do? Oh.
Yep. So we've got Sperling for the answer. Are we correct?
So what did Sperling study?
Well done, Sophie. Again, Sperling's correct. Good. Should we show the right answer to everybody then?
Brilliant.
Perfect. So Aki's put it's from memory topic, so that's correct. Can we be a bit more specific there? Sukes has said coding in sensory register.
Yep, that's good. Yes, sorry. I'm trying to get on my phone to see the comments. Yep, sensory memory. Great stuff.
And Eva said visual sensory memory.
Yep. Yes, because they were looking at the letters, weren't they? At the arrays of letters.
Very good. Excellent. Okay. All right, then. Let's move on then to the next game. So, guys, we've got to be quick here. This is a 30-second challenge. So you've got to answer this question in as much detail as you can, and you're only going to have 30 seconds to do it. So get your fingers ready to type. At what stage, and what's the name of the stage is what I want to know, do specific attachments form according to Shaffer and Emerson? What is the stage called? That's what I want to know. Off we go. Good, we've got some good answers coming through here. I think the first person to get that was Suk, so well done. You said the discriminate stage. It can be called specific as well, so that would be credit worthy. I know some of you have called it that as well in around 7 months. Really good. A question for you all then. Who can tell me what 2 types of anxiety occur at this stage? Can anybody name them? The 2 types of anxiety that occur at this stage? Suk's in there again first. We're on fire this evening. Sophie, you've got it as well. Aki, really good. So separation and stranger anxiety is also occurring here at this discriminate stage. Really good, guys. Well done. Let's go on to the second one then. So here we've got, in 30 seconds, I want you to identify the 2 types of non-verbal communication styles between infant and caregiver that are quoted in the specification. Off we go. Really good. So encouraging to see that quite a few of you have got this correct. So Sooks, you're in there again. First one got the correct answer. Let's see if someone can beat Sooks next time. We've got interactional synchrony and reciprocity. Chicken Nugget got in there second. Shandana really good with reciprocity. Again, the rest of you correct. So well done. Can anybody name quite a famous study for this topic area beginning with an M? Anybody tell me what study is associated with that kind of topic area? Anybody know the study beginning with an M for this one? Good, Florence, well done. And Eva, Meltzoff, yeah, Meltzoff and more, really good. Yeah, Charlotte, well done, perfect, spot on. It's not one that's quoted in the specification, but it tends to be quite a popular one that's taught with that topic. So yeah, they tested infants really young. Actually, they did a study as young as kind of infants as 3 days old, and found that they imitated caregivers in terms of mouth, tongue protrusion, mouth opening, closing, etc. So yeah, very good, guys. Let's do the next question then, shall we? So bit of a tougher one, bit of evaluation here. So the heads of the monkeys, the mother monkeys in Harlow's study were different. Does this affect the validity or the reliability of Harlow's findings? Off we go. Okay, so we've got more. Yeah, some of you are saying no. Hard to generalize to humans. Yeah, we've got some evaluation points here, but I think the important thing to know, if we can just reveal the answer to the students, the two heads of the mother monkeys really should have been attempted to try and be kept the same. And what the reason for this is, remember they were testing the fact that the wire monkey wasn't comfortable and fed it, and that the cloth mother was comfortable and didn't feed it. By having a more attractive head, one would argue, on the cloth-covered monkey, this could have confounded the results. And actually, it may be because the mother's head on the cloth-covered mother was more kind of representing a facial feature of a monkey rather than the wire one. And that is actually maybe the reason why the monkeys went to the cloth-covered mother, not the wire-covered monkey. So it could have potentially affected the validity, if you like, specifically the internal validity. They may not be measuring what they intended to here. So yeah, that is the answer here. And it's definitely a point you can use for evaluation in terms of Harlow's study, okay? Perfect. Well done, all of you. And I can see you've got some further evaluation points there as well for Harlow's studies.
We're just getting, hi Laura, we're just getting Anne back in the green room there. We lost Anne for a few seconds. I think Anne is back.
Yeah.
So we're back. We're back with the activities. Superb.
Okay then. So we're going to go to, I believe, the next game now. Over to Anne, that's going to do confusing pairs. So I'll let Anne explain how this works to you.
Right, okay. So on the screen then, you see two pairs, you see two terms linked to definitions, and you have to decide whether they match up correctly or not. I can see the chat now, so I've got back in seeing the chat, so I'll be able to see. So do these two key terms match or do they not? It's either like a yes or a no. So we've got a yes from Sue. Yep, from Holly. Yes, from Chandana. Yeah, so everybody's got yes. Okay, so yes, we can click on that and we'll get a tick. So can anybody tell me, as a follow-up question, how does the insecure resistant infant behave on reunion? Because they say ambivalent. but how do they behave? What is it about their behaviour that makes it ambivalent? Oh, swap, yeah. Okay, who can? Yes, well done, Sue. Straight in there. They seek comfort, but then they resist it. So they go to the mother or the caregiver, but then they can be quite angry. So they're showing two different reactions, which is quite ambivalent. Okay, so if we go to the next one. Okay, so we've got two there. So again, this time, if you want to swap it, say swap. If not, say don't swap. Okay, we want to swap this one then. We want to swap these over. And that is correct. It is correct to swap them. Okay, so when we talk about monotrope, we mean a unique special attachment, usually to the mother or mother figure, and then maternal deprivation is a lack of emotional care from the mother during the critical period, which Bowlby said leads to long-term consequences. Now, it is really important not to get Bowlby's two theories muddled up, because one theory is the theory of attachment, the monotropic theory of attachment, as the specification refers to it. And then the other theory is Bowlby's theory of maternal deprivation. That was actually his earlier theory, based on his research with the 44 juvenile thieves that we talked about before. So it's important to know that they are two different theories, and not to get them muddled. But certain things like the critical period actually does come into both of them. Okay, if we go on to the next one then. Okay, so again, with this one, do we want to swap or do we want to keep them the same? Oops, swap. Everybody wants to swap on this one. Well done, well done. Okay, what topic area are we talking about here? Where do these come into the specification? Conformity. Well done, Ashley, there, conformity. Okay, so internalisation. What do we mean by internalisation? It is a type of conformity. What does it mean? No, Shanna, it's conformity rather than obedience, but you're in the area of social influence. It means where there's public and private acceptance. You change your private beliefs as well as your public beliefs or behaviour. And what explanation of conformity has internalisation been linked to? So which explanation for conformity? Yeah, yeah, Lady, you changed that very quickly. Yes, informational social influence, where we conform because we want to be right, and if we think other people know the right answers, and then we will tend to accept their answer privately as well as publicly. And the opposite is normative social influence, and that's based on the sort of need to fit in, and that's more likely to lead to compliance. Again, it's very important to not get these things mixed up. So when we're talking about internalisation and compliance, on the specification they're listed under types of conformity, whereas informational social influence and normative social influence are under the specification as explanations for conformity. Even though the two are linked, you need to make sure you understand which is which. Okay then, so if we go to the next question. So, do we want to keep these the same, or do we want to swap? Okay, so Sue says yes. Yeah, Layla says correct. Florence says keep. Ashley says yes. Yes, they match, and they do. Okay, so again, it's really important to there's lots of things that are important, but it's very important to understand what comes where on the specification. The specification should kind of really be your friend, if you like. So when you're being asked about variables affecting conformity, then the ones that are named on the spec are task difficulty, unanimity, I can't say that one, unanimity, and group size, and then variables affecting obedience are uniform, location, and proximity. So, understand what goes where. Okay, if we have the next one. So how about this one? Do we want to swap, or do we want to keep it the same? Oh, what does unanimity mean? I was going to ask that as a question. It means, was everybody unanimous? Was everybody giving the same answer? Okay, so with this one, we are saying we're going to keep this. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. So semantic memory and procedural memory are types of long-term memory. Can anybody give me an example of something that is a procedural memory, or where you would use your procedural memory? Yeah. Layla, that's the previous question. Yeah, riding a bike. Our memory for riding a bike is an example of a procedural memory, or doing our shoelaces. Now, even if you hadn't ridden a bike for 20 or 30 years and you got on one, you might be a little bit wobbly at first, but you would still know how to ride it without really thinking about it. We tend to be able to do it unconsciously. Whereas, can somebody give me an example of a semantic memory? Is it that's a semantic memory? I've no idea. No, you tend to be talking about episodic memories there, Joe, Ashi, and Hugh. Yeah, Eiffel Tower is in Paris. It tends to be like factual information. So if I asked you the question, where is the Eiffel Tower? You would have to consciously make a conscious effort to recall that information. Or if I asked you what the capital of Italy was, or an answer to a maths question. So it tends to involve more conscious recall. Okay, so if we go to the next one.
Okay, so we're on to the next game.
Activity.
Yep, so on 3, 2, 1, you're going to have 2 minutes, as it says here, to answer these questions. So if we show the questions, you have to give 3 behavioural characteristics of depression, 2 types of misleading information, and I want you to identify 1 neurotransmitter implicated in OCD. So 2 minutes to answer all of those. Off we go, guys.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, guys, really good. We've got so many answers there from you all, which is great. So, Layla, let's start off with you. You said for the behavioural characteristics, low self-esteem. I would say the lack of sleep and the eating too much is great. Now, a lot of you did say for 3 behavioural characteristics of depression, a lot of you said things like, where is it? You've put things like change in eating or change in sleeping. The key thing here is you've actually got to state the direction. So you actually do need to say, and this has actually been a previous question, and the mark scheme states you need to state the direction. So you need to say lack of sleep or reduced sleep as opposed to just change in sleep. The same with things like loss of interest or enjoyment in usual activities, hobby. You need to state the direction basically, and loss of appetite as well. Behaviors, these are okay. So again, I think try and make some sort of a revision time, like a table of all the characteristics, so your emotional, your cognitive, your behavioral, and try not to get those characteristics confused with each other, okay? Because it's such a slippery slope sometimes with these types of questions, and students end up putting kind of emotional, cognitive characteristics down and getting them muddled with behavioral. So think about behavioral as kind of a behavior that we're doing more, okay? And cognitions are obviously to do with our thoughts, and obviously emotional is to do with how we feel. Okay, so really good, those of you that got that one correct. Some of you were quite specific there with those, so really well done. Let's go to the second one then. So the second one was you wanted 2 types of misleading information. I think most of you got this actually. It's really encouraging to see. So leading questions, post-event discussion. Can anybody name the kind of famous study for this area of the specification? What is the study for this kind of area, specifically really for leading questions? Who did that key study? What was the name of the psychologist? Mara, really good. Loftus and Palmer, yeah, perfect. Really good. Yeah, Layla, well done. Spot on. Let's go to the last one then. So we wanted 1 neurotransmitter that's implicated in OCD. And again, a lot of you got this correct as well. A lot of you put down serotonin, dopamine. Some of you actually stated the direction. So that's even more encouraging to see. Again, more elaboration on that is perfect. Okay, really good, guys. We're now going to do a 60-second challenge with Anne. We've got about 10-ish minutes left, I'd say, of the session. You've got quite a few questions here, so I'll hand over to Anne, and I'm sure she's going to elaborate and get you to answer a few more questions.
Right, what I want you to do with this one is I don't want you to put them in the chat box one at a time. Once the timer comes, I want you to use your bit of the chat box to kind of put A and then put the number that goes with it, B, the number that goes with it, and so on. And then when the 60 seconds is up, then click it so it actually comes up in the chat, and we'll see if anybody can get all 10. You've had a bit of a starter anyway because you can read them now, but don't send your chat until the 60 seconds is up. Okay, Jen, do you want to start the timer? Okay, it is going awfully fast. If you have got all 10, you can, or think you have, you can send them. Otherwise, I will give you a little bit more time. So if you just finish it off, the last few. Oh, how many have you got there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Just checking these. Well, Done. Okay, they're coming in now. But Mara was definitely there first. And then Layla, I think it's hard to look at them. Yep. And then Sue, well done. Well done. So you were up to the challenge. That's fantastic. Anybody else coming in there with any answers? I'll just send as many as you've got. Okay, so shall we click onto the answer slide then? That was fun. It's quite good to have a challenge. Okay, so yes, so Ash's conformity rate was 32%. Conformity on 32% of the critical trials. Milgram's obedience rate in his initial study, his baseline study, was 65. Then we got the identify the verbs used in Loftus and Palmer's study. Yes, students often don't remember what those verbs are. It's really useful to learn those verbs, and if you can, at least some of the percentages, even if it's just smashed and contacted, but it gives that detail to your answers. 5 elements of Bowlby's monotropic theory. I think everybody got that one. What was involved in the 2-process model in explaining phobias? So it was classical and operant conditioning. Which type of conditioning explains the kind of initial learning of the phobia? So which classical conditioning involved, given the answer then, I just said which classical conditioning. Yeah. I think you must have typed that before I said it. So yeah, so classical conditioning is how we learn it, and then through association, and then operant conditioning maintains the phobia, particularly the negative reinforcement element of it, because we tend to avoid whatever it is that we have a phobia of, and then we never learn that it isn't going to hurt us. So if you've got something like a spider phobia, then you will avoid spiders as much as you possibly can. Okay, then we had F. That in the study by Van Eysendorn and Kroonenberg, they found that variation within cultures was 1.5 times greater than it was between cultures. Does anybody understand what that finding means? Because it's a finding that students often write, but do you actually understand what that finding means? Don't worry if you don't, but you can be honest. Yeah. Inter and intracultural. Yeah. Well, typically when you're comparing like a study in the USA with a study in Japan or China, then that's looking that's comparing cultures. That's what we mean by inter. But within some of the cultures, they carried out more than one study. So, for example, in the United States, they carried out 15 different studies within that culture. And what they found was that there were big differences in the findings of the studies that were carried out in America. And so they found more differences between those studies than they did comparing, a study in America to a study in another culture. And that's what we mean by intracultural variation, because within any culture, you've got subcultures anyway and different groups, and they will raise their children differently, and therefore their children will behave differently in the strange situation. So it is a good kind of finding, but it is quite, it's important to sort of understand a little bit about what that means, that within any culture itself, there will be differences. Okay, then we had a dispositional explanation of resisting social influence, and that was locus of control, because that is about personality. Again, we'll throw a question out. Which locus of control is more likely to be able to resist conformity or obedience? Promise this will be my last question. So which locus of control is more likely to be able to resist? Yeah, an internal. Somebody with a high internal locus of control thinks that they have control over what's going on in the world rather than being controlled by it. Okay, that's lovely. And then we got the 3 factors of minority influence: consistency, commitment, and flexibility. The 2 genes implicated in OCD. Yeah, it's really worth kind of knowing a little bit about what genes are implicated there, rather than just presenting findings of twin studies, you know, being able to explain a little bit about what those genes and what they do. And then we got Hazen and Shaver, comes up on the effects of early attachment on later relationships. If you remember with that study, that's the one where they put the questionnaire into the newspaper, asking people about their relationships with their parents, and also assessing in childhood and assessing their sort of relationship style. Okay then, so I'm going to pass back to Laura now for our final activity.
Okay, guys, well done. So our final activity is the chili quiz. We've only introduced this over the last few weeks. You're going to have 30 seconds. There are 3 questions here. The idea behind it is to really try and push yourself and extend yourself and really try and attempt to answer the hardest question, which actually obviously is the hot one. The easiest one being mild, and then kind of medium level spicy, and like I said, hot being the most difficult. So if you can answer all 3, amazing, but try and read the questions and then try and do the one that you think you can do that's the hardest one. Okay, so here we go. 3 questions are, so one is define imprinting. What does this mean? The second one is, what are the 3 types of disputing called according to the ABCDEF model of treating depression? And our last one, our hot one, is explain the processes of SSRIs. Off we go, guys. Oh, that was short. Only 30 seconds, that one. Yeah, Layla, feel like I'm on holiday too. Totally get that feeling from the guitar. Okay, what have we got? So, Layla, you actually went for spicy, so that's really good. So you've put here, well, no, sorry, you did mild first. So when you form an attachment to the first moving object when you're born. Elisa, you've had a go at the hot one. So SSRIs inhibit the reuptake of serotonin, so it can continue to stimulate the postsynaptic neuron. I couldn't have said it better myself. Elisa, that is absolutely amazing. And then what have we got? Chandana, you said critical period attachment to first moving thing. Lorenz, really good. We've got quite a lot of things going on there. Hugh, SSRIs block, very good. Reuptake, more likely to stimulate the receptor sites. Yep, don't forget on the postsynaptic membrane. Really, really good. It's really encouraging to see that quite a few of you have gone for the hot one. So let's have a look at the answers then on the board. So, define imprinting occurs when an animal forms an attachment to the first thing it sees upon hatching, usually the first moving thing, and yet this is linked to Lorenz's study, of course. Nobody got this. Now, it's not quoted in the spec specifically, but it would be handy to know the types of disputing that are in the model for treating depression. So we've got logical, which is where the therapist might ask to question the logic of someone's irrational thought. Pragmatic is the kind of therapist showing and demonstrating that the belief isn't really helpful to the person. And empirical disputing is basically demonstrating and showing facts that go against the evidence of that kind of irrational thought, as it were. So they're the 3 types: logical, pragmatic, and empirical disputing. And then lastly, like I said, couldn't have said it better myself. Those of you that did answer this one have answered it really well. So SSRI stand for selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. quite a mouthful. So they block the reuptake of serotonin to the presynaptic neuron, so they don't kind of get hoovered back up, as it were. They stay in the synapse because SSRIs block it from being reuptaken, and they stay in the synapse and they keep stimulating, if you like, the receptors on the postsynaptic membrane, which increases the effect of serotonin, basically. So yeah, really good, guys, for being able to answer that question. That is our last game for this evening for our mix-up for paper 1. You've done really, really well, and I think you should feel confident and pleased with yourself that, you know, quite a lot of you have been able to answer all those questions, especially those of you, I know some of you have put in the chat that some of you have got assessments coming up, exams coming up. So yeah, you should be really pleased with yourself, and hopefully that's identified as well for you kind of pitfall areas or areas that you feel like you need to go back and revisit as well.
Super stuff. I am actually here, Lara and Anne. It's just that the gods of the internet have thrown us all kinds of challenges tonight, and one of them is that it's taken my camera offline. Well done for making it through, and also Anne, amazing work there to find a new connection to join us as we were live streaming, and I think Lara's somewhere in a van somewhere as well and managed to find a hotspot. Amazing ability to overcome technological hurdles to get a great session now. What a great way to finish our first series of live revision blasts. So fantastic. A huge thanks to Anne and Lara, as always, for taking time out from their teaching and other commitments to put these sessions together and to run through them for us. It makes the world of difference to have these great revision resources. If you found it useful, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube or Facebook, and that helps other AQA psychology students find this session. If you're watching on catch up and replay, you can do that as well. Don't have to be live to be able to do that. Now, as I mentioned, Lara and Anne and the rest of the team behind the scenes are taking a break for a week or two, no more than that. We're back at the start of June with some new sessions to support existing Year 12 psychology students, and maybe even a session or two for new psychology students thinking of taking the subject from September. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel and to Tutor2U's live channel, you'll get an update as soon as those dates and times are available. So for now, it's Jim here in the dark, thanking Lara and Anne and everybody who's joined us live. Amazing answers tonight. And we look forward to catching you in our next live session. So from all three of us, thank you very much and see you later.
Best of luck, everyone.
Good
Bye.
luck. Yes, good luck, everybody.